Hello all, welcome to the lecture series on soft skills and interpersonal skills. Today we will be looking at the third unit of this particular, course, and this unit will mainly deal with reading. Okay, as you remember and as you know, in the last two units we did the introduction to soft skills, and we looked at the different types of listening, and we did tasks on listening as well, right? So in this particular unit we will be looking at reading. Okay, now as you know, knowledge includes four different ways to decode a message. One is listening, reading, writing and speaking, right? So listening is something that we have already done. Now reading is something that we will be looking at, and for listening we use the faculty of hearing in order to decode a message, and that message was auditory in nature, by which it means that that message had a sound element to it, right? Now for reading you have to use the faculty of eyesight in order to decode a particular message, and that message has to come in the form of something concrete and physical, something that you can see. Okay, now of course, as I told you when I was talking to you about the difference between hearing and listening, I told you listening is something that you do with a lot of focus, while hearing is an involuntary activity because you have no choice but to listen to the various sounds that come your way all throughout the day. In the same way, our eyes also get to see many things that come our way all throughout the day, but we do not register all of them. We register only those sights, and we register only those things which our eyes not only choose to see but also choose to register and use the brain to remember, right? Now reading is a similar kind of an activity where your eyes are actively, you know where your eyes are actively in where your eyes are actively in work to help you decode a message, and your brain, of course, it aids you, because without your brain we won't be working. So the brain and the eyes come together in order to decode a message, and that process is reading. Okay, now reading requires many skills in order to do effective reading, because we just don't read just for the sake of it. We just don't read a few words just for the sake of it. We read to understand, we read with a particular motive, and the motive is to understand the content that we are reading, right? And sometimes to even remember the content that we are reading. Take for example the substance that you have to study for your examination. You read it not just for the sake of it, you read it because you have to understand it and you have to write your answers on them, right? So that is reading. Now if we come to the subset of reading, or the subskills of reading, the first subskill that we have is the vocabulary skills. So of course, again, until and unless you have words in your treasury, until and unless your treasury is rich, until and unless your treasury is rich with words, you know until and unless those words, until and unless you know a variety of words, and not just words but their synonyms and their antonyms and everything associated with that word, until and unless you know that, your reading skills will be stunted and stagnated. Okay, because if there is a word which is a synonym for a word that you already know, but you do not know the meaning and the fact that this is a synonym of that word, then you cannot understand the entire passage that has been presented to you, right? Now that is the reason why you are required to have a good vocabulary. You need to have a rich treasury of words, so as to understand the words which are presented to you on paper and the content that you are reading, right? So vocabulary is important in that way. Next is visual perception. Okay, now visual perception is a basic requirement for reading effectiveness, because we first recognize a word through our sight. Okay, so visual perception means you use your faculty of eyesight more than any of your other senses. What do I mean by this? I mean that your faculty of eyesight, or your eyesight, should be functioning, in the highest possible manner more than your other senses. So what do I mean by this? So when you are reading something, visual perception means when you are reading something, Your eyes recognizes the word and then it sends a signal to your brain, right? Then your brain receives the signal and then you understand the content. Now imagine a situation where you are reading a particular content and at the same time you are also reading it aloud. That means you are using your voice to read out aloud whatever you are reading. Okay, now what happens is that slows down your reading process and you are unable to comprehend the passage. Now of course this is a strategy that you should be taking up before your exam. I mean reading alongside your vocals. Why? Because see, this is something that this helps you in your revision process before your examination. This helps you with your revision process. But when you are reading something for the first time, when you are acquainting yourself with something for the first time in terms of reading, then if you use your vocals, then it is of no use. You have to use your eyesight and your brain. After your brain has understood the content, then you know say the words out aloud in order to remember them, in order to retain that information. Okay, that is the reason why you use your voice along with your eyesight when you revise for your exam, because you have to remember the content, you have to retain the information. Okay, so vocalization and subvocalization is something that you should not be using when you're reading something for the first time. Vocalization means saying words out aloud and subvocalization means saying words silently to yourself, and these two should be avoided. Okay, in order to quickly recognize a meaning, you have to, again, a good stock of vocabulary is required. Now concentration is also required and you concentrate through your eyesight. Third is your rapid reading skills. Now rapid reading skills, of course there are various rapid reading skills. So if you are an efficient reader, you would be able to recognize what the content would be about, or what the content is going to present to you in its upcoming paragraphs without having actually read those paragraphs. What do I mean by this? You have read the first two lines of your content. Now if you are an efficient reader and if you are somebody who has been reading or who has been in the practice of reading for years and years, by reading the first two lines of your content you would know what the rest of the content would actually bring to you. So this is called prediction. So even before reading the stuff, you know what the stuff is actually holding in front of you. You know what the stuff is going to talk about even without having read it. So this is called prediction. Now prediction is is an important aspect, or is an important feature of rapid reading skills, because in that way of course you have to read the content but you don't have to thoroughly read it, because you already know what the content is going to present to you. So that reduces the amount of time that you would have spent behind reading that content in detail. So that is your you know that is your rapid reading skills, and under that you have this prediction, that you can already predict what the text is going to bring to you. Okay, then comes scanning. Scanning is basically, it is the ability to locate a word in a text as quickly as possible. So you locate the word in the text as quickly as possible. So basically scanning is also something that that is developed. It is an important skill that is developed through years and years of reading. Okay, so if you have to locate a word, you are not required to read the entire thing. Your eyesight should be experienced in such a way that if you're looking for the word, your eyesight will directly hit the word in the text. Why? Because this also comes from prediction, because you know where the exact word is going to be. Okay, so that is how you do your scanning. Even without having read the entire text, your eyesight directly hits the location of the word and you are able to hit the word and you know what you are looking for. Okay, then comes scheming. Now scheming is something that you do. Okay, scheming is something that you do, or for you students, scheming is something that you all do very frequently, especially before your exam. So suppose just one day is left for your exam and you do not have the time to read the entire or read each topic from the syllabus in detail. You do not have the time for that. What do you do in such a situation? You have to revise, but then you have to go through each and every topic, but at the same time you do not have the time to read through all of those topics in minute detail. So what is it that you do? Before your exam, you just randomly go over the write-ups of the topics that you know. You go over the text, and what you do is that your eyes again hit that particular keyword, okay, that you had underlined while you were actually studying the text. Okay, your eyes actually hit the keyword that you were, that you had underlined or that you had highlighted while studying the text for the first time. Now, if your eyes, touch upon that keyword, then your brain is going to associate that keyword with everything that you had read surrounding it, and you are going to again remember and recall all the information in detail. So scheming does not require you to read everything in detail. You just go over the text, but certain keywords, when you touch upon certain keywords, those keywords actually the other knowledge associate the knowledge that you had gained surrounding it when you were studying the text for the first time ever. Okay, so these are some of the essential subskills of reading. Okay, in the next class we will be doing a task on reading, where I will be giving you a comprehension, and you will be, scrutinizing that, you will be comprehending that, and you will be answering a few questions. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in the next lectures. Thank you.